All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OSHA safety class. My name is David Ocasio. I have an extensive history and education in workplace safety. I also have the privilege to have been on plenty of unsafe job sites. I am qualified to talk to you about workplace safety in construction. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am currently a union member of Local 713, that's the Carpenters Union. I am a former member of the Cement Masons, Local 300, and I have an extensive history as a landscaper. All right. I've been on plenty of projects as general labor. I have seen it all in the work field. Okay. I'm also a graduate of Richmond Build and the West Contra Costa Adult Trade School program. All right. I have certificates in welding, pre-apprenticeship for electrical controls, and not to mention the classes I took for cement and carpentry. Okay. I take workplace safety very serious. I will be dropping a whole curriculum of originally produced and thought up content. I will also be reacting to some things that are already out online, but the OSHA Safety School is run by me and my father. My father is a certified OSHA 30 class instructor. Okay. So I pretty much know everything there is to know about in-field and in-office construction safety related work. I'm going to jump in by saying that most people don't take workplace safety very seriously. So I'm just going to go down the line of the things that I want to change and what I hope to bring to your life in regard to safety. Now, the very first thing I want to do is shout out my original safety agent, Miss Veronica of the Cement Masons Union. She scared us all into taking safety serious. All right. She said that once upon a time, there was a man who had a bad feeling about what his employer was asking him to do, but he did it anyway. You know what happened to that man? He got injured on the job. You know what happened after his injury? His wife left him because he couldn't perform in the bed anymore. Straight flat out. All right. So if you think you can't tell your boss no because you got to bring the money home, well, what if there's no home? So with that being said, this is an original slogan of mine. Go home before you go to the hospital. All right. Now, I'm going to start off with welding because I wanted to pursue welding until I encountered the pressure to never wear a mask. All right. There are welders obsessed with making sure that you don't wear a mask when you weld. Your coworkers, your foremen, your employers, they'll be like, what's that? What's that for? Okay. That's not a healthy pressure. You should be pressured to show up on time. You should be pressured to not take extra time on your breaks. You should be pressured to work hard and efficiently. But the pressure to work hard and efficiently while not wearing a mask has nothing to do with you. The root of this cause problem is that the generations before didn't wear a mask, and a lot of people are obsessed with forcing you to do it how their grandpa did it. Well, tell your boss this. I don't care who thinks a mask is not important. I want to wear one while I work. There's also the fact that you need to get respirator fit tested before you can wear a respirator. And some people get fired for asking for the respirator fit test. Well, welding community, let's look at how often welders get cancer. The number is 1 out of 2 welders end up with some form of cancer. It is very popular to blame this result on cigarette smoking. Actually, the law forces some type of smoke accommodation outside of wearing a mask. So there is supposed to be some type of ventilation, a fan or a suction or both when you weld. When you're just showing up to work, the 40-hour work weeks of welding, there's supposed to be some type of smoke mitigation. If there is none, ask yourself, do I want to be one of the 2 welders with cancer because of money? Sometimes money's not worth it. Remember what I said. Go home before you go to the hospital. All right, ladies and gentlemen. One of the top 10 causes of death in construction is getting electrocuted. Another one is falling. Okay. There's a lot of different opportunities to get hurt at the job site. Go home before you go to the hospital. There's going to be people that don't care if you get paralyzed or not. They say, oh, well, workers' comp will cover it. They'll be mad about giving you workers' comp while you're paralyzed. That's why I'm going to shout out my first safety agent, Miss Veronica, and say that safety starts with you. You're the one who can say, I'm not going to do that. Now, I know when we're talking about money, it's like, wait, what do you mean? You go home before you go to the hospital every time. If you think you're going to end up in the hospital, go home. I mean that. All right. Take a picture, send it in. Complain to OSHA. I mean, if they're playing with your life and here's what I say. Professionalism is a 2-way street. Don't cut any corners. And if you were working for a man or a woman that's cutting corners, you tell them, hey, let's do it how it's supposed to be done. They should respect that. Lastly, I'll close out by saying, no water on the job site is a joke. No water on the job site is a sick joke. And if there's no water on your job site, you better tell somebody to stop joking around. Because water is cheap and it's everywhere. And if you're working and you can't see any water anywhere nearby, ask yourself, are you at risk of dehydration effects? Could you get heat stroke? Could you pass out due to dehydration? No employer wants to hear this, but, go home before you go to the hospital. This is my message to the employee. My message to the employer is no cutting corners. No cutting corners. If you are going to hold your employees to a standard that they're fired if they're late, then there better be water on every single shift, because the labor needs to show up every single shift on time. The labor needs to show up from every break on time. Let me also say this closing message to the employer. It is not worth the exchange in no breaks. So I'm switching the subject now to breaks. The 10-minute breaks, 10 or 15-minute breaks. Going to the bathroom is not part of the 10-minute break. Number one. Number two, the penalties, the financial penalties that these construction companies receive for never giving their employees breaks is not worth it. Slow the day down. Make sure everyone gets 2 breaks on top of lunch. It's very simple. You relieve yourself of liability that way. Relieve yourself of the liability. Give breaks. Give water. Employ ease. Safety starts with you, and go home before you go to the hospital. But most importantly, show up 10 minutes early every shift so that your employer needs you. Now, if you want to become the foreman, I hate to say it, but I will. Show up an hour early. You show up an hour early every day, you will be the foreman. And if you're not the foreman by the end of the project, that company will consider making you the foreman next. Somebody with the keys will give you the keys and say, here, you open up tomorrow. You show up an hour early, I guarantee they never fire you. All right. So I know it sounds a little intense, but again, you don't want to be the man that loses the love of his wife, the love of his life, because he can't make love no more because you did something dangerous on the job site. You want to go home in the same condition you showed up to work in. All right. Safe and uninjured. Many workplace injuries are preventable. I'm trying to prevent as many as possible. So, water, necessary. All right. Breaks, necessary. Showing up early, necessary. No cutting corners. Go home before you go to the hospital. This is lesson 1 of the Ocasio OSHA safety class. So subscribe to the YouTube. Send an email to OSHA safety class at gmail.com if you're interested in me bringing my father out so he could teach a class. And you know, if you got a fleet of men that are ready for their OSHA 30, go ahead and send that email. We'll go ahead and we'll teach all you guys everything we know. But today, I want to thank you for looking at episode 1. And be safe. That's the most important thing. Be safe because your family needs you. All right? There'll always be work out there, but there's only one of you. You only got one spine. The ergonomics of your job, you don't want to slip a disc. Ergonomics will be episode 2. And yeah, we'll get started on that pretty soon. But thank you for watching episode 1. This is my general overview and what qualifies me to teach OSHA safety class. Thank you very much. I'm out.